Eileen.
Hi. Well, good Shabbos, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Why don't we just take a minute and just wish each other a good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Good to see everyone.
Monica, hey, Phil.
Good Passover. I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone. So I'm
sorry.
Have a good Passover. Did you have a good Passover? You're right. I'm just making sure you guys are paying attention.
That makes us old people old faster, you know that.
I've already bought my matzah.
Yeah. Well, so just on the side, you're supposed to technically, halachically prepare for the 30 days prior, and that is technically starting tonight. So don't go buy anything on Shabbos, obviously, but we start to prepare for Passover right away after Purim. So, you know, can't believe we're starting to talk about matzah, cleaning our kitchens, spring cleaning, making sure there's no crumbs and everything. And this year is going to be particularly challenging, I think, because how many of us have been home this whole time and maybe eating in different places where we normally might not have eaten during the year, maybe. I ate a little more. I'm not looking at my wife. I ate in the room probably more than I would have normally. In any event, I'm going to mute everyone, and my wife is hoping I will mute me. Okay.
There's a way to do that?
There is not, unfortunately. Okay, here we go. Cantor, if you could just unmute yourself after I just muted everyone. There you are. Shabbat Shalom, Cantor. Good to see you this evening. And we just had a wonderful Purim celebration. Saw many of you on both of the celebrations we had with the younger families. And then we also had a wonderful Megillah reading with my beautiful bride's father-in-law who read the Megillah. And
wasn't my father.
I mean, my father-in-law, my beautiful bride, my father-in-law. But any event, it's going to be a long night, guys. So just buckle in, and why don't we just get started with Shalom Aleichem, bringing peace into our home, bringing peace to everyone, putting out that positive energy and wholeness together. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem. Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Ni Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, malchei hashalom, malachei elyon, mi melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shalom aleichem, shalom aleichem, malachei hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem l'shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn now to page 38 for Lecha Dodi, remembering Shamur v'Zachor b'Dibor Echad. And I often bring this up that things that happen in our life sometimes happen very, very quickly. And it takes some time to realize and to really understand what they mean. It's important. This past year, as I said the other day, this has been a year in which we have not been together. The anniversary, at least for the Hebrew anniversary, is this Sunday where our building shut down. It's been an entire year in our Jewish calendar. There have been so many things that have happened over this past year, whether it's political, whether it's physical, whether it's spiritual. In every aspect of our lives, many, many things happened, almost as wave after wave after wave. And if you're like me, it's very, very hard to truly understand and unpack all of the things that have happened. When we look at Shamor v'Zachor b'Dibur Echad, we also need to understand that each thing, although it may be happening in one voice, in one utterance, they are important, each and every one of them is separate, Shamor v'Zachor, to remember and to guard. And that we need to unpack each and every aspect and allow ourselves the time, allow ourselves the Shabbos to truly understand. That way, when we enter into this new year, we are able to truly greet it as the best we possibly can. We all agree that if we are in the best mental, physical, and spiritual shape, then we can meet any challenge to come. So we continue with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat kala, Penei Shabbat, nekabla, Lecha Dodi, Likrat kala, Penei Shabbat, nekabla, Shamor v'Zachor b'Dibur Echad, Ishmianu el Hamelchad, Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad, L'Shem Ultiferet v'Litila, Lecha Dodi, Likrat kala, Penei Shabbat, nekabla, Lecha Dodi, Likrat kala, Penei Shabbat, nekabla. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, Gam besimcha ufsachala, Toch emune am segula, Boi chala, Lecha Dodi, Likrat kala, Penei Shabbat, nekabla, Lecha Dodi, Likrat kala, Penei Shabbat, nekabla.
We now turn to page 50 as we start our formal worship with the Ma'ariv Aravim.
El Chai v'Kayam, Tamidim lo chaleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, HaMa'ariv Aravim.
With an everlasting love, you have loved the house of Israel, teaching us your Torah, its mitzvot, laws, and judgments. Page 52.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael amcha avta, Torah u'mitzvot hukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu u'v'kumeinu nasiach behukecha v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. ki hem chayenu ve'orech yamenu uvahem negei yomam v'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yamenu uvahem negei yomam v'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yamenu uvahem negei yomam v'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yamenu uvahem negei yomam v'layla ve'avatecha al tasir mimenu li'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha Bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvelechtecha v'derech Ushach becha uvekumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayuletotafot beheinenecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha.
The Lord said to Moses, speak to the children of Israel and bid them to make fringes in the corner of their garments throughout their generations, putting upon the fringes of each corner a thread of blue. When you look upon the fringes, you will be reminded of all the commandments of the Lord and obey them. You will not be led astray by the inclinations of your heart or by the attraction of your eyes. Thus you will be reminded to fulfill all my commandments and be consecrated to your God. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, the Lord, am your God.
Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet.
We now turn to page 64 as we rise for Vishamru. And I just wanted to point out a wonderful word in here. Bnei uvein bnei Yisrael ot hi leolam. The word ot in our tradition literally means it's a sign, but that the actual Shabbos is a sign of the connection between the Jewish people and God. That's the reason we don't put on tefillin, or we do other mitzvahs that we generally do on the weekday. We don't do it on Shabbat because Shabbat itself is a sign. Tefillin are considered to be a sign, and therefore Shabbat is a sign in and of itself of that relation. Let us take a moment over this Shabbat to find different ways in which we connect with God and how they can become oats in our life. We continue on page 64 with Vishamru.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam.
We remain standing as we turn to page 68, as the cantor will help guide us in a little brief meditation before the Ma'ariv Amida for the Sabbath.
Adonai sefatai tivtach ufi agid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory.
Grant abundant and lasting peace to your people and to all who dwell on earth. For you are the supreme sovereign of all peace. May it please you to bless your people, Israel, in every season and every hour with your peace. Praised are you, O Lord, bestower of peace upon your people, Israel.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'b'chol sha'ah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We take a moment now to offer prayers for those who are in need of healing spiritually, mentally, or physically. We ask that you place the names of those who are in need of our Misha Berach, to place those names in our chat as we sing together the Misha Berach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah Hu Yivarech V'Rapeh Et HaHolim Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah Hu Yivarech V'Rapeh Et HaHolim Elna Rafanallah Elna Rafanallah Elna Rafanallah Elna Rafanallah Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah Hu Yivarech V'Rapeh Et HaHolim.
May God send a refuah shlema, a refuah to nefesh, a refuah to guf, a complete healing, a healing of body, a healing of spirit for those in need. And let us all say amen. A really interesting thing happened today, and it doesn't happen often. Not often does Purim fall on Friday. That's very unique. So all of the beautiful mitzvahs that we do on Purim happen to fall on the eve, or last night. We read the Megillah, didn't we? And then this morning, of course, we read the Megillah again, and we offer mishloach manot and gifts to friends and gifts to those in need. But there's also an interesting, I wouldn't call it quite interesting. It's only interesting because it happens to be on Friday afternoon. But there is something called a suda, or a meal, that we have on Purim. Everyone familiar with the meal, right? Everyone knows there's got to be a meal, right? Every Jewish holiday, you got to eat something, isn't that right? But this particular holiday, it is really important that you eat something, that you say the Birkat Hamazon, you have a little bit of bread or something like that, and that you have some kind of meal. I don't know about you guys, but I ate way too many Hamantashen today, and I was at the shul briefly, and there was more on my desk, so I ate those as well. And there was some candy, and I ate that. And so anyways, there's no lack of food. My point though here is that on Friday before Shabbat, we often don't eat because we are preparing for Shabbat. And the first time you ought to have bread is when you break bread, so to speak, on Friday night for the first meal. And if you recall, how many meals are we commanded to have on Shabbat? We are commanded to have 3 meals, right? The evening meal, of course, the afternoon meal on Shabbat, and then Suda Shlishi, the third meal, which often isn't a big meal, because if you had a big meal on Friday and evening and Saturday, you would be full. So sometimes people just come together and have a little bit of bread. What is my point? Very interesting thing happened is that we had a meal here at our home, the Sudat Purim, the Suda for Purim. Later in the afternoon, I was running around handing out mishloach manot. I came home, closed my eyes for a minute. The next thing I know, we're eating. And I'm still full. So when is it that we are going to have our Shabbat meal? Do you do it at 8? Do you do it at 9? You got to have a meal, isn't that right? You can't not, right? You have to have the meal, of course. What is my point? The point is that we as a Jewish people are commanded to eat. And when we eat, what do? We bless. We bless. We will eat, we will be satisfied, and we will bless. That's why the Jewish people say grace after meals, as some understand it, after. You say a bracha before, but the real blessings are for afterwards. And the important thing to remember is that when we are full, when we are satisfied, is when we bless. Isn't it true if you look at any other species in the world, they have one problem. They need to fill their stomach. Isn't that right? And once they fill their stomach, they're good to go. They go take a nap or whatever. Human beings are a little different, aren't they? We fill our stomachs, and the next thing you know, we're off and we've got a million other problems we got to deal with. We're not necessarily satisfied. Therefore, we are commanded to remember just briefly the importance of Birkat Hamazon, of a blessing, to help us and remind us of the gratitude, of the importance that we are satisfied in that moment. Because what is satisfaction? I will say, and this is what I learned today, and this is what's important about having this Purim Sudah that we had in the afternoon, and right now I'm about to sit down for another meal. It will be smaller, trust me. But the whole point is that if you think about satisfaction, isn't it true that human beings are always kind of growing, and we always look to just be a little bit more? And in doing so, what ends up happening is that we never, ever, ever are truly always satisfied. Isn't that right? Think about it. After you have a meal, after you eat something, isn't it a little bit later that you say to yourself, I'm hungry and I want a little snack? Isn't it interesting that there's an entire industry that is created after the meal? We're stuffed, and then they give us a dessert menu. And how many of us have said when you get the dessert menu, no, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I don't need anything else. I couldn't possibly eat anything else, just to get into your car and think to yourself, oh, I wish I would have actually ordered that nice cheesecake. The whole point is that we as human beings are satisfied, we get full, we bless, we understand our satisfaction, only to know that a few hours later, we will not be satisfied, and we will need to become satisfied again. This is a very important part of our understanding of when we bless and how we are as human beings. We will never truly always be satisfied, that we must continue to understand and respect and honor when we are satisfied and appreciate that moment. I hope each and every one of us had a moment right over Purim where we were satisfied. We had enough, understanding that in that moment, that's when we bless. That's when we're grateful, knowing that in the next moment, maybe we won't be, but that will be another opportunity for us to be grateful and satisfied again. Our human condition teaches us to constantly remember the importance of being satisfied and then being in where we are at that moment and understanding and appreciating it for what it is. I want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom. Take a moment, have a little bit of bread this evening, have a little bit of a meal, say the bracha, say the blessing, understand the importance of being satisfied and knowing to appreciate that moment. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with Aleinu on page 118.
Please rise if you're able. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. Va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim ve'osed haaretz umoshav yikaro b'shamayim imhal ushchinatu zo Begavei meromin, hu Eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu efezulato, kakatuv betorato, biyadata hayom, v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim.
Shamayim.
Is everybody through now? Bashamayim imhal, ve'al haaretz, mitachat einod, einod.
For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory, as it is written in your Torah, the Lord shall reign forever and ever. And it has been foretold, the Lord shall be sovereign over all the earth. On that day the Lord shall be one, and shall be acclaimed as one.
Kakatuv b'Toratecha, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz. Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo, echad.
We ask those who are mourning or observing Yortzeit remain standing. May the memories which we cherish and lovingly now recall inspire us so to live, that we too may bequeath a heritage of precious memories to those whom we shall leave behind. In tribute to our departed, may we enrich the lives we touch. May we share and preserve the faith which our mourners will now affirm as they rise to sanctify God's name in the hallowed words of the Kaddish. In this week's Yortzeits, Edward Greenberg, grandfather of Jeff Greenberg; Albert Becker, cousin of Cantor Lori Rimlin Bond; Sally Garson, grandmother of Jennifer Schuper; Rebecca Getz, sister-in-law of Eileen Hamas; Jack Indig, father of Susanna Warlick; Jean Oppenheim, mother of Denise Youngwood; Louis Dector, father of Beth Neft; Bernard Katz, father of Malka Friedman; Leon Kingston, brother-in-law of Don Like; Maime Rosenblatt, mother of Susan Shear; Selma Asarch, mother of Kenneth Asarch; Barbara Margulies, sister of Don Like; Marilyn Adler, mother of Sue Eisenberg; Claudia Medoff, sister of David Medoff; Nissim Yojai, grandfather of Patty Lewenda; Daniel Gaon, brother of Esther Hodis; Lena Merdejian, mother of Joseph Merjan. The Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 124. Together, Yitgadal v'Yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divra Chirutei v'Yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala v'Zman Kariv v'Imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mvrach Le'olam U'me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'oma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Say shalom ben Romav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who makes harmony and peace in the heights, grant us harmony and peace here for us, for all Israel and all humankind, and let us all say amen. We want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Purim. We are looking towards Passover at this point, so be on the lookout. We are having plenty of opportunities to share together as a community for Passover. Join us tomorrow morning on Facebook for our weekly service on Saturdays at 10, and then also in this room, and just be on the lookout. Please make sure you're on our mailing list and be on the lookout for some of the changes coming up about our Zoom rooms, because they are going to be switching in the coming month as well. So just be on the lookout. We'll hopefully get that messaging out in a very clear way so everyone is aware of that. But in this Zoom room tomorrow at 6:30, we will be having Havdalah, a lot of fun. Hopefully some of you, maybe you noticed we've been checking out the moon. If you checked out the moon tonight, I mean, it was just stunning. And why? Because it is a full moon, because it's the 15th of Adar, because of Purim, right? We're right in the middle of the month. So we are in tune, at least our calendar is in tune with the cycle of the moon. Most importantly, want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Please rise for Kiddush, which can be found on page 90. Get there. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'avav ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lamigrei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim, l'chaim. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please unmute yourself and wish everyone a good Shabbat.